Hey, welcome back to Delectable You. Today, I'm going to show you how to prepare kale for a salad because I'm always talking about how I make salads with kale, but then I realized there is a way to prepare kale so that it tastes really good and not chalky and fibrous and hard to eat. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So first, of course, you're going to want to buy a head of kale, and it can be a flat leaf kale like this is, or it can be curly kale. Doesn't really matter, whatever your preference, they're both wonderful. And you're going to rinse it. So you can rinse it two different ways. You can either just straight run it under water and get all the sand and the grit off, or you can put it in a bowl filled with probably about 4 to 8 cups of water and about a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and just let the kale soak in that for about 10 minutes, and that will remove the dirt and any impurities. Either way is totally fine, whatever you feel like doing. From there, you're going to dry your kale off. It doesn't have to be crazy dry. You don't have to be super militant about it, but just take some paper towel and lay down your kale on the paper towel, just like that, and just try to get as much of the water off as you can. It's not going to be perfect, and it's still going to be a little wet, but you just don't want it to be sopping wet. That's about fine. You see how it's still glistening? It's totally fine. So now, here's the part, or one of the parts, that makes kale a lot more edible in the preparation. See this spine here? This spine is very fibrous and it's really chalky and hard to eat. So we're going to take the spine off the kale. So all you're going to do is just rip it on one side of the spine. It doesn't have to go all the way, maybe just about, 3/4 of the way up. And then rip the other side. And voila, kale with no spine. So you're going to do that to all the pieces of kale and just lay them down beautifully like this on top of one another. All right, this is our last piece of kale from that head of kale. Look at all these spines. I don't need these. These are too fibrous for us. So I've got two neat little piles of kale. I'm going to put one aside, and then I'm going to make a little kale burrito. This is the second way we are going to get the kale to be more easily digestible and delicious. You want to chop the kale up so that it's in small pieces, because big pieces of kale, they're not very pleasant on the palate. So let's chop these up. So what you're going to do is roll the kale like it's a burrito. Okay. And then starting from one end, just chop the kale. It can be as big or as small as you want it, but I recommend smaller so that it's easier on the taste buds. Okay. So now just turn your pile of kale this way and slice it down vertically. Watch your fingers. All right. So you see now these little pieces of kale, they're so small and they're so easy to eat. So just go ahead and put this kale in a large bowl like this one. You want to put it in a large enough bowl because we're going to mix it up with some olive oil and salt and pepper. And if you put it in a bowl that's just the right size, then the kale is going to just go all over the place when we're mixing it. So put it in a big bowl and then deal with your other pile just like you did the first one. All right. So we've got our entire head of kale in this bowl. Now what we want to do, this is the last step, we're going to soften up the kale. And to do that, first we're going to season it a little bit. So put about 1/4 teaspoon, I'd say, of sea salt. And then as much pepper as you want. I really like pepper, so let's put 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then you're going to drizzle, start with a tablespoon, I think that's probably plenty, of extra virgin olive oil. And now you're going to get your hands dirty and you're going to get your massage on, and you're going to literally massage the oil, the salt, and the pepper into the kale so that every single piece of kale gets coated with the oil. Show it some love. It can feel how much you love it with every single massage. There we go. There's our massaged kale. So that's it, easy peasy. Now we've got our kale, it's ready for our salad. I like to prepare a head of kale every few days so that I have it in the fridge. I keep it in the fridge for 2 to 3 days and I just pull a handful of kale and a handful of mixed greens and then I make a big green salad and it's really easy, quick lunch or dinner. You can also use this to saute. Saute it just like this, maybe add a little bit more oil, salt and pepper, and then serve it along with a veggie bowl or whatever you want. So that's it. Enjoy your massaged kale and may the future salads that you make taste even better because of this. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Lauren with Delectable You. I will see you next time.